To start removing this bumper, I want to remove these screws that go around up front. Take them all out. At the corner of each bumper, there will be a hidden screw right here, also a 10 millimeter. Go ahead and take those out. There's one on each side. Two more screws at the top, one next to each headlight. Still 10 millimeter. Now, if you have fog lights, they'd be right here. You'd have to unplug them. I don't, so I can't show you that, but you just reach underneath and unplug the bulb. At this point, you can take the bumper, pull it out and forward. It should release it from this side, leave it hanging on here, and do the same over here. Pull it out and forward, and then gently remove it from the front of the car. This piece of styrofoam you can either take off if it falls off or leave it on there. Here's your washer fluid tank. As you can see, it's pretty full for us, and I want to save as much of this fluid as possible so I don't waste it. And to drain it, the most efficient way is to just pull the pump out from the back. I have a container here ready to catch all the fluid. I'm going to remove the pump. If you just pry out gently, it should pop out. There you go. And now you can catch all of your fluid in a clean container and recycle it and reuse it. It's down to a very slow trickle, so I'm going to put the pump back in just to cap it off. Now I can take this reservoir out without making a huge mess. The next thing I want to do is unplug the pump. Press this tab right here. There we go. Take that off, and then there's your washer fluid level sensor over here. The tab is on the top. Press that down and wiggle it out. Now if you go behind the tank right here, there's a 10 millimeter bolt that has to be removed. Take that off. There's another one right up front here underneath the headlight. And then there's one nut right here that has to be removed as well. Support the tank so it doesn't fall off. It shouldn't, but you never know. Now you can slide it down from the back side. Now that this is tilted forward and fluid can't come out, you can remove the pump and set that aside. Remove the hose from over here. Slide the whole tank down, and the only other thing we have to remove is this level sensor. Now on a steady surface, I'm going to use a little pry bar. This level sensor is pretty stuck in here, and I can't do it by hand, so with the pry bar, take it out. When you take it out, you want to make sure that you pay attention to which direction this is. So in the car, it was sitting facing down like this. If you put it in upside down, when you fill up your washer tank, it's going to tell you that it's empty because it's reading backwards. So make sure that the float is going the right way and not the wrong way. To install the level sensor, again, make sure that it's positioned properly. Press it on and make sure it goes down all the way. Otherwise, you'll have a leak. There we go. That's on. One more thing you have to take off the old reservoir is this stud right here. I'm just going to do it with a pry bar. Go below the threads so you don't damage them, and then with a small hammer, just hammer it out. There you go. Now to put this level sensor in, you need to put it on the right way. Otherwise, this float is going to read the wrong reading. So basically, if you put it in upside down, it's going to tell you that you have no washer fluid when it's full and that you have washer fluid when it's empty. When it came out, I know that my tab to unlock the connector was on the top. So I need to make sure that it stays on the top. Basically what that means is when the float is down, it senses that there's no fluid, and then when the fluid fills up, the float goes up and it tells you that you have plenty of washer fluid left. So slide it on the right way. Go ahead and plug in your electrical connectors. The level sensor, make sure it clicks so it doesn't pop off. This hose right here has a little hold down so it doesn't flop around. And then plug in your pump. Make sure that clicks. And now what I'd like to do is fill it before I put anything back, just so I can make sure there are no leaks. I filled it with the fluid that I had in earlier. I checked for leaks. There are none, so now we can put everything back together. If you'd like to test it to make sure that it works properly now, you can do it. I know it does, so I'm just going to go for it. With that done, you can reinstall your bumper. Make sure it lines up with these brackets here. It has to slide over this bracket, but then there are hooks that slide underneath these retainers. If it's not lined up, you'll know because it won't go on. And since I'm up here, I'm going to start these 2 screws in so it doesn't fall back down. And snug them up. Hold the bumper in its position when you do. That way it tightens in the right spot. To line up the side piece here, make sure that this goes over that retainer there. And then line up the rest of it. Then you want to put in your screw on the side here. It's sometimes tricky to get started just because of the location. All right, snug that up and do the same to the other side. Careful not to over tighten these because they just go into plastic, so they'll easily strip out. And then press your fender liner back into place. Reinstall the splash shield here. Make sure that it goes underneath the bumper at the front here. And start in your screws just to hold it in place. Snug them all up. Awesome. Now you can go up and test your washer fluid.